If you suffered an injury or cancer, you do something immediately and heavily to fix it. Grief is an emotional state that was created by a physiological state. So you must take physical actions and other actions to get rid of it as soon as possible. You cannot say that by doing things that's going to destroy my health. That's a proven fact now. You know, you go to the Yellow Emperor Classics of Internal Medicine that was written over 2,000 years ago. Okay? You go into the Ayurveda. You know, you go into all of these, ancient health systems. They knew way back then that the negative state of being called grief damages your health and your well-being. But we are living in a culture that separates the mind, body, spirit, psyche from each other. So you think, oh, it's emotional. But that's a trick bag. What the heck you know about the science of emotions? You see, once you define something as emotional, you just put yourself in a trick bag because now you don't know what to do. And knowing what not to do is a stress, creating, mechanism. You see that when you have a challenge and you know what to do, you rise above the stress response. You see that? If you don't know what to do, it puts you into stress or nurtures the stress. So please begin to understand these things because, you see, our community, that's, people of color and poor people of all walks in life, all races and genders, whatever, just not simply Black people. We are all stressed out, having stress response to the inequities that the world is now, putting in place, operating under. You see that? So now that we know that stress, that grief is a stress, a form of stress, or the segue to stress. You see that? In other words, the stress response, or other, errors of living, like indulging, too many recreational drugs. Because all the recreational drugs like tobacco and alcohol and marijuana, whatever, they deplete the dopamine and affect the serotonin within you. So that's the key to addiction. You see, you smoke, why do people, chain smoke? Smoke a whole pack of cigarettes in one day? Because the nicotine, and whatever else is in the cigarette, makes you secrete a lot of dopamine. Okay? But then now in another 15 minutes, you need another fix. So you light up another cigarette. Another 15 minutes, the dopamine is cascading through your system. You run out of dopamine, so you rev up the machine again by smoking another cigarette. Alcohol makes you feel good, because of it releases dopamine in your system. Anything that has the potential to be pleasurable will cause you to secrete the dopamine to manifest the pleasure. Don't forget, the so-called pleasurable thing, the so-called joyful thing in itself doesn't have the capacity to make you feel joyful or pleasurable. The body got to secrete the dopamine first, the serotonin first, then you feel good. Understand it about yourself. Please do not understand more about, computer programming than how to hack your brain. Hack your brain. Jumpstart the feel-good mechanism in your brain. So we're all subject to losing a loved one or losing, a pet, or spouse, losing a relationship, our career, a good job, we trash our car and we can't get a new car, whatever. All of these things can cause you to, have a problem because now you need lots of dopamine and serotonin to be in equilibrium, to maintain that yin-yang equilibrium within your system. You see that? So the first thing that you need, there's a science of how to avoid that or fix it. The first thing that you have to do is to change your self-image. Right now, you identify with the psychical part of your being, the human part of your being, meaning you identify with that part of your being that affirms that you are controlled by your emotions and sensations. That's the human identity. And as long as you identify with the human part of your being, grief will be a natural response to losses. But you see, if grief causes you injury and illness and lowers your IQ and your performance quotient, then it cannot be natural to you, because nothing that harms you can be natural. It's natural to the psychical part of you, the human part of you, but you have another part called the spiritual part of you, the divine part of you. You see that? If you have, nurtured the divine part of you, the spiritual part of you enough, you will not experience the deep hurt. Yes, a beloved one dies, it's going to hurt you. But how deep that pain is, how long it lasts, because it cannot last for too long. It should not hurt so much that you are shocked into immobility and shocked into paralysis or whatever, because now you can't function well anymore. If you have, found the right spiritual mechanism, the right spiritual teachings, you will keep the pain at a minimum, and you will keep the pain short and recover your well-being. Because you see, the best way for you to show that you care from the loss of a loved one is to do something constructive for them. Have a memorial for them. Have an event to, glorify their name and their, what they have done and so forth, as opposed to sitting crying and crying. Crying is nothing else but a stress valve from the psychic, from your old, evolutionary, past. It's a short, it relieves you. It's like tobacco. It relieves you of the pain for a short while, but you keep crying and crying and crying because it doesn't permanently remove the stress and the pain. So, but if you learn about yourself and the science of managing your life, you see that your brain and your psyche and your mind, then you will know that you need to get rid of it, because it does you no good but lots of harm. So you need to involve yourself in a spiritual system that will shift your self-identity from the psychic part of you, the psychical part of you, to the so-called human part of you that says, I'm controlled by my emotions direct my actions and so forth. That's the darkness. You want your identity shifted over to the spiritual part of you, which tells you, I'm a divine being capable of, rising above my emotions, my sensuality, and so forth. I'm a divine being capable of taking directions over my destiny, changing my destiny, controlling my mind, reprogramming my emotional responses. You've done some of that. You've reprogrammed you're no longer afraid of XYZ. You're no longer control of XYZ. You've done that. What you need now is a system that will make it a global response, not just simply a short-term limited response. It's not, I'm no longer afraid of this and that. It's, I'm no longer afraid. Full stop. You see that? So that's what the Ma'at, the 11 laws of health, wealth, and success will do for you. Help you to change your